The caregiver is the person who I think needs so much more support and relief and guidance and reassurance and just overall holding that I think we forget that.
Unfortunately, it's not a discrete chunk of time. I'm on the whole time. And I think that's often the case with every person who has elder care issues.
I also saw how overwhelmed my dad was. It was happening so fast and he had no ability to keep pace with what was happening to her, that in some sense I felt like my goal was really, we could find someone to help my mom, but he needed a lot of emotional support.
You need to take care of you, and if you don't have a hobby, find one now. Try to figure out how to make sure that you are healthy yourself. Make sure that you eat properly, make sure that you have your food before you feed the others. I think that's essential. Fortunately, we were able to take a vacation. We had respite care. And at first, I fought that. I said, oh, no, I don't need that. And I needed it. I needed to just get away and just have fun and not think about anything. It really lifted my mood, and I was able to really be more positive with my mother.
I visited when I could, very busy at my job, so always felt guilty that I wasn't there enough.
It's been really hard. They're 6 hours away. I'm an only child of an only child of an only child, so I don't have a lot of family to turn to and say, hey sis, or hey cuz, can you go check in on them? So it's been really, really difficult to try to be as present as possible when I'm physically far away. Some of my strategies for that have been to get my dad on Skype so I can actually see him, and my mother. And I have created a relationship with the caregivers where I call them, and neighbors who live next door where I can call them and just, how are things going? But in particular the caregivers, you know, if I can't physically be there, I really feel like they're my primary resource. My dad is a very stoic guy, and he went into this with the mindset of, I can take care of this. She's my wife, I should be able to take care of her. And it quickly became clear to him that that was not going to be the case. He very quickly scrapped this whole notion of who I needed to be and became very vulnerable with the community around him. He just let himself be vulnerable with people and said, my wife needs help and I need help.
I just went to my coworker and I just shared with her, and she just happened to have a friend who had a friend who had a friend. And it's often the case that, you know, your network will have the right people. So you need to talk, you need to share about your needs. A lot of times I have a tendency to keep it all in, but it was only when I talked that I found the right person.
You can learn a lot from your friends and your colleagues, you know, and other people that are going through similar sorts of episodes.
Having people to talk to, for me, that's how I gain information and calm myself down. And so I think I would recommend, if it's feasible, to take advantage of care managers. It's a licensed organization. They're professionally trained.
This last time I used my mother's physician. I said, hey, I'm in need of finding another support person for my mother. And he recommended a geriatric social worker. Fabulous person. She came in, talked to my mother and me about her needs, how she would like to proceed with her day, what she needs to do with her medications, and the geriatric social worker gave me a list of recommendations as well as a list of folks that I could call. So that has worked out wonderfully. Well, my mother's brother and the aide are wonderful resources to just bring outside people in, just to have an outside perspective. So if my mother and I don't agree on something, I'll either call my uncle or I'll call the aide. And I'll say, listen, here are the issues, what do you think? And it really calms things down to have an outside person come in.
Family talks about it, we talked about it a lot. I mean, my sisters and I talked every single day for however many years my mother was with us, and that was great. I mean, I got to know more about their family and the things they were interested in.
My dad and I are extraordinarily close as a result. And my mother and I are as well. You know, I think that this is someone who instilled in me being fiercely independent and not needing, you know, someone in the world, take care of yourself. And you know, here's this person who now is completely vulnerable. And that's very, very hard to see, and I think it's hard for her to know that she needs other people, and there's now this role reversal. She's, in some ways, the child.
My mother was the biggest resource. I mean, she was a great comfort. Being with her was, it was just wonderful. I mean, you dreaded it, not because of her, but because of the smell of the place or the craziness of the people that were around her. But just getting her out and about by herself was really great. She laughed, and you know, she had a lot of enthusiasm for life.